Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great today. Today, I want to focus primarily on how dangerous knives really are and what a blessing it is that we get to have an equalizer, what we like to call a firearm with us. Guns are a blessing. It truly is a blessing to be able to carry a gun, to be responsible with it, and to be able to use it for self-defense. But today, we're going to talk about how important it is and how dangerous knives really are. So to start with, knives come in various sizes, shapes, and uses. A knife like this is, could be used for hunting. This one's primarily focused towards tactical uses. I absolutely loved this knife. I carried it with me a lot when I was in the military, and this thing's built like a tank, super thick, great knife. You have a switchblade like one of these from the Infidel from Benchmade. Fantastic knives. You can't really carry them in the state of Mississippi for self-defense if you use it for it. I mean, you might be opening yourself up to a lot of legal issues. So just things to consider when you're carrying them. We have other knives, more exotic ones. If you've actually ever seen somebody who knows what they're doing with one of these things, they are terrifying. Like, this is a bad to the bone knife. And this is like a slasher knife. Like, this isn't made to necessarily like stab in. This is made to like spill someone's guts out. Terrifying. If you see someone using one of these things and it looks like they know what they're doing, like, you had better be like thankful to God you have a gun if you ever come against someone who wants to try to harm you with one of these. Getting into some more punching type knives where you're actually being very linear and stabbing. This is one that I like to carry on my plate carrier. I kind of just like slide it in and it hides real well. This is a fantastic one, again, made by Benchmade. Just absolutely love it. Then we talked about punch knives as well. This is one that you can kind of just carry. You would not want to be punched with one of these things. It's not necessarily like the one punch that's really the issue. Like, yeah, I could hit you in a vital area and you could die, but it's the repeated punches, like the repeated slashes and cuts into your body, intestines, vital organs. That's what kills you. The bleeding out, the quickness in which you bleed out. When it comes to guns and knives or any type of stabbing or impaling, you're really trying to bleed the other person out. That's the name of the game. Anything that we're doing where we're having to fight somebody in combat, you are trying to kill the other person by vital hit, whether it be the circle of Willis inside the brain, you're hitting the brain pan itself, you're hitting somebody in the heart, whatever it is, you're trying to get them to die immediately, or you're trying to get them to die from loss of blood. One of the most dangerous items you may not be able to like realize is this right here. Like, a screwdriver is used in a crap ton of homicides every single year. And it's like, it's not even that big. Like that is really all the shaft is on it. And, like, one stab into a non-vital area is probably not going to kill you. Like, people survive all the time from stabbings. But it's the repeated stabbings, like those repeated entries into your body that just continue to make you bleed, and then the infections that come from it, like, it's terrible. And if you hit intestines, like, dude, that's a bad day. Like, it's just terrible. Props to all the people that work in healthcare and emergency rooms and all the hard work they do taking care of people. Like, we would be nowhere without them. Another dangerous item that they never talk about, like, is a pencil. Like, this is just like a drafting pencil. They're mostly made out of metal. You can get like easily probably 2 good stabs with this thing, and you can get on a plane with it. To know that, like, they're telling us that this is evil and this is evil, but this can do the same amount of damage that those other ones can, just not as many times. Like, you could kill someone with a pencil or a pen. So this whole like notion of safety and all these other kinds of things, like, they're taking one thing away to make the public safe, and you're allowed to use others because they're safe, quote unquote safe. It's not true. God bless the areas where you get to have your First and Second Amendment rights. We're still a First and Second Amendment rights state in the state of Mississippi. I thank God every day for that. It's one of the main reasons we live down here, especially, like, come August, you're really thinking about moving because it's so freaking hot. But I love Mississippi because we get to carry, we have the rights to do those kind of things, and God bless that. But you can't ban these things. Like, even if you lived in a state that banned all these other things, like, you can't ban this. And so, if someone is wanting to attack you or hurt you, like, they don't have to be very sophisticated. Like, you can find one of these in a dumpster and they have a weapon now. And so that's why you need to, like, understand that there are a list of factors that go into play that make the situation more dangerous. One of the first things I want to talk about is like the 21-foot rule. Even if you have a gun on you, you won't be able to draw that gun out according to the rule before someone running towards you with a edged weapon or an impaling weapon comes up on top of you. You wouldn't even be able to draw it out of the holster. And that has a lot to do with like your OODA loop. I'll cover that, in the later videos, and we'll talk about psychology and physiologies and things like that as well. But you wouldn't really even be able to draw that pistol out in time. So you have to pay attention to like the different distances that are out there. We always like to talk about distances in three different distances, and the first one's going to be ballistic. So anywhere that you could throw an item or you could shoot, that would be a ballistics distance. So that can go out pretty far. Like, for me, like my pretty much tolerance of ballistics distance is about 1,000 yards. I think the furthest shot I ever made was like 1,050. That was probably like a miracle for me. For some people, like 2 miles, like they can do that. That ain't me. One day I'd love to get there. But I know where my ballistics distance is. It's right at 1,000 meters. Strike, that is anywhere that you can accurately hit somebody. So if you can close that distance real quick, 21 feet might be your strike. If it's someone who's like, a really, really good kickboxer, it might be 10 feet for them. Who knows? You have to kind of judge and assess those things and get yourself outside of that distance wherever the threat is. And then clench anywhere where like you can reach out and touch somebody with your arm all the way down to negative space, like where they're actually on top of you. So these are the things you have to keep in mind, like when someone's starting to cross those thresholds and going from one distance to another. You need to understand as you're like situationally aware or looking around you and looking for threats, potential threats. You have to understand that like that is a potential threat. If someone has a knife and they're crossing to that 21-foot barrier, like, oh crap, I need to take some steps back. I need to change my position. I need to add some barriers to protect myself and others. Another good way to protect yourself is to carry a tourniquet. Cat tourniquets, fantastic. You'll see them through the military over. I think this is like a Gen 7 or something. And some people get caught up on all like the cat tourniquets and the generations. Dude, at the end of the day, as long as you have this part right here, this hard part sitting over, the main artery or a vein, something that's going to compress down and squeeze that blood and close the vein so that you can actually stop the blood from flowing. That's all you need. I mean, you could literally use like a rope and something really, really hard to stuff in there and, like a pencil. But at the end of the day, like this is super good. If you don't train with them, you're not going to have the knowledge when you need it at the moment. So get some time, watch some videos. There's some really, really good videos on how to use cat tourniquets. Like there's a million out there. I'm not saying this is the only good one, but this is the one I was trained on and I really love it. There's other great ones out there though. For like gunshots and stab wounds, I really like Celox A. This is one that I got some training on and really, really enjoyed it. They're like super easy to use. If you've never used them, like watch a video. They come in these sterile packages. I think you can even get them on like Amazon. But like this is something just to keep in like your little speedball bag, like that bag you carry with you, your EDC. I carry like 4 or 5 of these in there. You just never know when you would need that. Like it's like a fire extinguisher. You don't want to need it and not have it. Obviously there's limitations on this. So Z-Gauze may be like good for packing into like the chest area where you have your lungs and everything else. You don't want to be like shoving this into your lungs area. Or into your intestines, those kind of things. But, worst comes to worst, I'd rather make a mistake and use it improperly and survive than not have anything at all. So I carry Z-Gauze and I carry Celox A as well. But today I have a video from Martial Arts Journey with Rokas that I would love you guys to watch. I'm not going to show the whole thing. That's just not fair to them. If I showed the whole video, I'd be taking like the wonder that is what they've done here. They took and did a pretty like extensive project with 6 amazing martial arts experts. I'm not saying that they're the best in their field, but they're pretty dang good. Like for you or I to be on the mats with them, probably wouldn't really stand a chance. Like these guys are good. And so like don't lose respect for them. When you're watching the video and you're like thinking, how did you not survive this situation? It's because it's way harder than it looks like. In movies and television, like you always see the guy like reach up and like grab the knife and take it out of somebody's hands and then, like disarm the guy and then run away with the guy's girl. And like that's the end of the movie, live happy ever after. Like, no, it's 50-50. Like you get into a knife fight, like your best chances are 50-50. It's either going to go really well and you're going to get cut, or it's not going to go so well and you're going to die. And the last thing you're going to see is them standing over your body. And so, like, avoid a knife fight at all chances, like, and at all costs. Like, if you can get away from that knife fight and still have your dignity and, didn't lose anything that you couldn't afford not to lose, that's a win, So always try to, like, beat feet and get away from a knife fight any chance you can, because it's just not a win-win situation. Like 50-50 odds. Come on, dude. That's terrible odds. Like, at the end of the day, you want the odds stacked so heavily in your favor that it's almost like, the combat calculus is, it's worth the risk. Everything's risk and reward. And whether it's investing or whether we're talking about, combat calculus, you want the odds to be so heavily in your favor. If someone has a knife, you want to have a gun and you want to have distance. Like, that's good combat calculus. So, keep in mind as we watch this video with these guys, they're not slouches. They don't suck. These are great, fantastic martial artists. And again, we're watching it with Martial Arts Journey with Rokas. So I've subscribed to these guys. I would highly recommend that you guys subscribe to them as well. As they did a fantastic job, like, laying out how this works. So, like I said, we're not going to watch the whole video, but I am going to make sure that you guys get to see a good chunk of this. Enough to really get a flavor for how this works out. They've already had 2.9 million views. Let's make it some more for these guys.
After the short break, they were asked once again to wear anatomy t-shirts, and the rules of the next challenge were explained. Each participant will enter a padded room where they will be joined by a single attacker carrying a marker representing a knife. The contender will then have to defend against the knife attacker for 20 seconds, 4 times in a row, each time with a new and fresh attacker. And running away will not be an option, as the space will represent a locked room where escaping is impossible. The contenders will receive points after each attempt, and if at the end of 20 seconds they will remain unscathed, they will receive 3 points each time. If there will be wounds that are not fatal, 2 points will be received. If the wounds will be deadly, 0 points will be given. And every time a contender will get wounded, a wound mark will appear on the screen. And now it is time to begin the challenge, starting with Ramsey Duty.
I wasn't feeling good. When you're not feeling good physically.
Okay, so real quick, 20 seconds. That's all they have to be in there. 20 seconds, like, that's the average amount of time it takes dude to pee. It doesn't seem like a lot of time on the mats. Holy crap, dude. 20 seconds is an eternity. In combat, 20 seconds is also an eternity. You think you could do this. Let's see how they do. These guys are, like I said, not slouches.
20 seconds starts now.
Started out with that Spartan kick like we're all taught to do. Already been stabbed 3 times.
Hands on! Ready, set, go!
I held the hand that the knife was in, thinking, all I need to do is hold you here for a couple of seconds. I don't even need to hit you. And then I feel this little on the other side. What are you doing? Oh, the marker's on the other side. You changed hands.
Finish him.
Hands up!
28 times. You got stabbed 28 times.
Hands on!
I'm going to get
43.
up here and it's going to suck. Self-fulfilling prophecy. That's exactly what happened.
Hands on!
How was it? Terrible. Terrible. Worst thing I've hated every moment.
It did not go as you planned?
Went exactly the way I thought it would. It's incredibly frustrating when somebody's doing something against your will and you can do nothing about it. In retrospect, instead of focusing on the knife, if I had just followed any combat sports strategy, for MMA, for boxing, for kickboxing, for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I would have been stabbed, but I would have been stabbed less.
Although Ramsey dude was unsuccessful, there was still chance for the other 5 contenders, following with Sensei Seth.
20 seconds starts now.
Pinning that arm and he's catching elbows.
Hands on.
While Seth did a great job, unfortunately his multiple stab wounds were assessed as fatal, leaving him with 0 points and 3 more rounds to go.
Ready, set, go.
Did have a lot of success with grabbing a body, trying to pin that arm to the body, and just run it until that person hit a wall.
Nice takedown.
Hands on.
While Sensei Seth yet again did a great job at fighting his opponent, he suffered multiple stabs to his heart and other vital areas, leaving him with another 0.
Barrels with nothing.
I hit a hip toss on him, and I land a crucifix somehow. I've never practiced a crucifix. I kind of barely know what a crucifix looks like because of some old UFC fight. All of a sudden, his arms were between my arms and legs. Oh, well, let me just sit back. And I sit back, and he can't move at all. What is this magic?
Hands on.
Although Sensei Seth landed a great hip toss and a crucifix, he got stabbed multiple times in vital areas, leaving him with 1 more 0.
Where's that crucifix? Interesting. See, that's the funny thing. I'm not saying it's not deliberate. A lot of the times it's got to take what's given. You can't force something. When we stab somebody, I like it to be there.
And to be clear, these dudes are no slouches. Like, these are like apex dudes that do jujitsu, they do Krav Maga, they do various types of martial arts. Like, you would not survive on the mat very long unless you train in these same things that they do. And so a lot of these guys, like one of them is actually like, you know, gone through courses to be very, very good with knife fighting. But the difference is when you go through training, your partner is being respectful to you. They're not going full speed. They're not trying to screw you over and kill you in training. When you actually train this way, which is an important way to train, all that bull crap's gone. Like, they're not pulling punches. They're not, you know, making it easy for you. They're giving you full resistance. And that's where you see it's real. And so that's why you cannot go into a knife fighting situation thinking that you have trained for it unless you have trained this way, because this is the only way you'll even have a chance. In a knife fight, it's 50-50. Like, those are the odds always. If you go into a knife fight, no matter how good you are, the chances of you surviving, 50-50. I don't like those odds. I like my odds to be stacked very, very heavily in my favor. That's why it's good to carry a gun. Truthfully, honestly, whether you are a, 4-foot female with, Tinkerbell size muscles, or you are a dude that's like 350 pounds, solid muscle, barrel chested dude, a gun makes all of us equal. But, as you watch the videos go on, they got stabbed more and more and more the more rounds they went in. Like, they actually did their best their first round. Why that is because it's simple physiology. As they were fighting and being very wide on how they were trying to stop the aggressor was very linear. He knew what he was doing. He knew that he just needed to get that pointy end into the fleshy part of their body. In a knife fight, you were just trying to stop and prevent that. You saw him pin it against the wall. The second guy, he learned that when he kind of pinned it against the guy's body and kind of pushed him against the wall, that was kind of his best bet. Whatever tactic you go and take with, it's always best, in my opinion, to have something that you can strike them with, like a baseball bat, something like that, or a gun. Have a gun, put some distance. That's your best chance. Even better than that is don't even end up in the situation to start with. Take preventative measures and use situational awareness to prevent that. Sometimes you just absolutely can't. You're trapped with it. You got to deal with it. Do the best you can. Strike hard, strike fast, strike often. Also, you are going to get cut. Like that's the first rule of a knife fight. And you're just hoping that you get it on like these parts where the bones are, and you're not getting it in like super venous arterial bleeding type situations. But just because you got cut doesn't mean it's over. Like keep with it, fight through to the end. Um, you know, this was 20 seconds in the video. It's not gonna be 20 seconds in real life. Unless there's a cop like right there, or unless you have a buddy right there that's gonna back you up and help get this crazy person off of you or terminate them, like it's gonna go for a lot longer than 20 seconds. So you make sure that you like study these things. If you go in and you study jujitsu, that will be like the greatest thing that you can do. Right here in Gluckstadt, we have a place called Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I love what they do there. That's not the like end all be all when it comes to martial arts. Like it's so broad and so wide. But Gracie is what we taught in the military. We taught like 70% of what we taught was Gracie style jujitsu in the military to the troops. And it's because it works. It's so simple. It's easy to replicate. It's easy to train and to learn. But there's all these little idiosyncrasies in how this is all done that you have to continually beat into yourself, because you're not going to just like in the moment all of a sudden like Chuck Norris this thing and just be amazing, or John Wick. Like it takes all that training to get that muscle memory, so you're drawing from a full well of knowledge rather than drawing from an empty well when you need it. So if you get a chance, if you live here in Mississippi, like I would highly recommend, I'm going to name drop, Houston Cottrell up there at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in Madison. If you get a chance to go through and see them, I would highly recommend just getting started in jiu-jitsu. I think it's the best martial arts to start in. Krav Maga is amazing. Like there are some other great Muay Thai is a great striking martial arts. Go out there and take them serious. Go out there and get the good cardio from that, but also get that muscle memory so you can draw from this. And watch the rest of the video. There's still so much left there to watch. And there's so much more that I didn't even go into because I didn't want to take any more away from them. I think these guys have earned it. They deserve all the attention on that. But I wanted to make a point to everyone that will listen how important it is to know how to use a gun properly, because it is your best and almost only defense against a knife. Advise you to check these guys out. Martial Arts Journey with Rokas. There's still a whole lot of video left here that I didn't steal from them. But I hope you get a chance to check them out. I've already subscribed to them. I really think it'd be awesome if you guys did as well, because it keeps you based in reality. So much when we watch movies and television, we believe that's reality. It's not. Getting out there sweating, there's no like background theme music. That's where the real stuff happens. I hope you guys learned something from this video. If you have any comments or if you have anything that you feel like I got wrong, please leave it in the comments. Let me know. I read every single one of them. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Leave me a like and subscribe. I'm trying to make this thing go big. I would love to get to 1 million subscribers. Who knows? GunTube channels rarely ever do that, especially nowadays, but we'll see if we can pull it off. But till then, you guys have a great time and be safe.